Welcome back to the Big Sunday Show. Just days after the White House press secretary gave a thumbs up to protesters harassing Supreme Court justices, President Biden is doubling down. Check it out.
Keep protesting because keep making your point. It's critically important. The only thing that's going to change this is if we have a national law that reinstates Roe v. Wade.
All right, well, they didn't fall off the bike, so that's progress. But then Pete Buttigieg defended the protests on Fox News Sunday because, after all, people harass him all the time.
I can't even tell you the number of spaces, venues, and scenarios where I've been protested. And the bottom line is this. Any public figure should always, always be free from violence, intimidation, and harassment, but should never be free from criticism or people exercising their First Amendment rights.
Wow. Now, Alicia, I'm going to go to you first because there was some guy on the panel who would not shut up last break, and we ran a lot of clock. I'm not going to name names. His name rhymes with Broy Bones. I'm kidding. Good to see you.
Oh.
I'm right there with you. I'm guilty right with you.
You know what? You're not getting this jacket back.
Well, I don't know. Easter's not for another year, so I got time to find a replacement. Don't worry about it. Let me ask you this, Alicia. Are the Democrats emphasizing this blame and shame, this public harassment, because they're losing the idea battle, meaning there's been a bigger effort to shame people than there has to engage on the issue? What say you?
Well, I don't know if that's what they're trying to do, but I think you may have a point that could be what's coming across. When you listen to what Pete Buttigieg just said, I don't think it was his intention, but it sounded like a little bit of one-upsmanship there. Well, yeah, you've been harassed. Well, I've been harassed. And when people hear that, the message that they say they're trying to get across, which is there has to be a line, is lost.
Yes.
The sad thing is that, heaven forbid, someday someone's going to go too far with one of these justices or one of these public figures, and then the finger pointing will begin again. Yep. And that's the part that's difficult here.
I totally agree. And it comes in the aftermath of someone being arrested for trying to kill Brett Kavanaugh. Right. So this isn't a laughing matter. But there is a laughing matter in Congress. Her name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And she has weighed in with a tweet about the Kavanaugh harassment, saying, "Poor guy. He left before his souffle because he decided half the country should risk death if they have an ectopic pregnancy within the wrong state lines. It's all very unfair to him. The least they could do is let him eat cake." Now, I'm going to come to you, Doc, because you are a doctor. Now, I happen to know AOC is so dumb she studied for a COVID test. But as a medical professional, as one of the smart members of my life, is she even telling the truth about this ectopic pregnancy thing?
You know, Jimmy, here's the problem I have. AOC loves to go out. She loves to do her little tweets, her YouTube, or whatever the other social media thing the young kids are doing these days, which I don't know how to do. But here's the problem I have with AOC. She puts out these hyperbolic statements that incites emotion, that gets people riled up. It invokes violence that we have seen. It threats, the harassment, everything that Pete Buttigieg says you shouldn't do. It does, because they do this. And she's not telling the truth. She makes it sound like any woman who becomes pregnant with an ectopic pregnancy is going to die because she doesn't have access to the medication. This is wholly untrue. In all of the 50 states, medical treatment for ectopic pregnancies is still legal because of the risk it has to the mother's life. Let's stop. All they are doing are pushing forth their agenda with lies, and it is confusing people, and it is actually really scaring people, and it's just not true. And they just have a really hard time telling the truth.
No, I agree 100%. Joey, I'm going to throw this at you. You get harassed in Morton's a lot, but it's usually for your autograph. We love you on Fox and all of that stuff. Yeah. But honestly, do you think in this moment that part of the Democratic frustration, okay, with Joe Biden saying, you know, we've got to give them their right to harass, is due to the fact that he just can't afford to alienate anybody? I mean, if you're polling at 30%, do you really want to upset a component of the Democratic base right now? Is that part of this?
That's a big part of how he responds to a lot of things, quite honestly. This idea that he's been pulled to the left, he has jumped into the left because he believes that's his base. And perhaps it is because the only base that's left is your traditional Democrat, your blue dog Democrat, your moderate Democrat that he supposedly represented. And they're fitting firmly into the Trump umbrella or the anything but you umbrella right now. So that's what he has left. So, of course, they're not going to stand on the bully pulpit and alienate any subgroup of liberal or progressive that is passionate, because if they don't have passion showing up in November, they don't have a chance on top of not having a chance. So this is the best card they have to play. Unfortunately, playing the best card they have to play is dangerous for the rest of our country. And that's what's disheartening about this. Listen, I don't have some huge, overwhelming loss for Brett Kavanaugh. You know, hey, this is a hard job. You chose it. You played your whole life for it. I hate that you're getting harassed. That does kind of come with the territory.
Yeah.
But when Pete Buttigieg sits there and he goes, everyone has a right to do any public figure has a right to be exempt from, violence, harassment, and intimidation. Then he says, but you can do your First Amendment. What part of walking up into a restaurant with your family sitting there isn't harassment, intimidation?
Well, and what about the fact that the Supreme Court justices, they actually were doing their job. They swore under oath that they were going to have originalist theories, and that's what they did. I'm sorry that people don't agree with it, but that's what they did. Do you know who's failing at his job and probably deserves some harassment? Pete Buttigieg. I mean, hello. He should be harassed at this point because he is failing miserably. And if I failed like that in my day job, I would be fired.
He's been absent. He's been absolutely absent.
He's a mess.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.